If you're generally feeling tired to having so much equipment with you and you feel like you have to do it to look like a professional, change it. Change it, get easy, get light, and your photo will get better.
A lot of people get stuck in the details. I need to have the best, newest one because that's going to make me a better photographer and it's going to change everything. It doesn't matter. At some point, what you have doesn't matter, and you should be leveling up your experience, how you operate, how you make people feel. That's far more important. And it's easier to get stuck in the gear and spend money because you get that instant reward of, oh, I spent money and everything's going to change now, when you should be focusing elsewhere.
Most photographers are obsessed with gear. More lenses, more bodies, more options. But I photograph weddings around the world with just one camera, one lens, and it's the best creative decision I ever made. Not just for the image, but for how I feel when I shoot. Even physically, it's great. So in today's episode, we are going to tell you why I will never go back.
So Lilly, you use one camera and one lens. What do you use?
I use one camera, the Canon R5, and one lens, the 2870 2.0. That ginormous big monster.
Did you always use that setup, or what changed? How did you get started with that setup?
So with this setup, we started when they steal all of our equipment in Los Angeles.
I remember that. We were traveling for destination weddings. I remember this. This was what, 3 years ago now, right? So we were between, I think we were between like, where did you start? You started in Utah? No, you started in California?
Yes. No, I started in San Francisco, and then Jamaica, and then we landed in Los Angeles.
So we did a destination wedding in Jamaica, which was pretty great, and then we were on the way to Mexico, and we stopped in Los Angeles first. And so in Los Angeles, we had spent one night to catch a flight the next day.
Actually, we stopped in Los Angeles for an elopement in Joshua Tree.
So we stopped. It's okay. So back up again. Let's tell the story again. So we were doing destination weddings, and we were in Jamaica for a destination wedding, and we were on the way to Los Angeles for an elopement in Joshua Tree. And so we had an extra night in Los Angeles, so we spent the night there. We had rented a car, stayed in a shitty hotel. Airport hotel. And the next day, we were stopped at the Apple store because I had to trade in something or get something, whatever it was. Yes. And in the time we had parked the car, and I had gone to the Apple store, and thank God you were with me. In about 20 minutes, all of our stuff had been stolen out of the back of our car. It was a parking garage that had a gate, and everything was stolen. Camera gear, luggage, clothes, everything we had.
My clothes.
Yeah, your clothes, the camera gear. So we had everything. We had everything with us. We had all of our backup cameras, all of our lenses, all of our cards, all the hard drives, everything. Like literally, it was like $30,000 worth of equipment.
Can I stop you there? And you know why we have everything? Because that was the time we're supposed to sell everything to buy a new camera gear. So we really brought everything.
Yeah, we were in the phase of like we're gonna simplify and slim down our equipment. And in that same time, all of our stuff was stolen. Like, thank God Lilly had the external hard drive with her, with all the weddings backed up.
And I remember you always say to me that I'm freaking out too much about people stealing. Now, best advice for everybody, always bring a backup inside your shirt.
Lilly we had backup drives, and so one was with the gear and one was with Lilly. So she always does that as a point of like extra security, and hey, it worked. But anyways, so all of our gear was stolen. It was literally everything. So it was like $30,000 worth of equipment. This is why you have business insurance, people. Make sure you have business insurance, especially when you're a destination wedding photographer. And so at this point, we're like, this sucks. Like, we want to simplify our setup because we were traveling so much. And that's where this idea was born of like, okay, one camera, one lens. But you're already shooting one camera, one lens anyway, right?
Oh no, I used to shoot one camera and destroying lenses.
Why not two?
Because in my mind, I need to be able to like fix the setup of the camera in one camera. If I start to set up the camera two times, I was thinking about, okay, I'm going to lose the moment. Like I'm an artist and I'm not a technical person, so for me, it need to be super easy the way that I set up one camera. It's also easier to move around. Like I have my lens, my camera, and my bag. That's it. Like if I feel like I'm moving around with two, it's too much for me.
Yeah, and you're also tiny, so like having yourself strapped down by cameras and lenses is a lot of weight, especially for a full wedding. There's a lot of weight to carry around too physically.
It is, but I was like, do you remember like how many times we need to fix the rubber?
Yeah, like the seal on the camera. So then tell me, so you had one camera, but what lenses were you using that time?
I was using my favorite lens used to be the 50 millimeter 1.2. You remember I destroyed that lens. One time it stopped to work. Then I used to use the 35 millimeter 1.4, the 24 millimeter 1.42, the 100 millimeter 2.8, 70-200, backup
There was also an 85 in there for a while too.
85.
So at some point we had what? We had a 24 millimeter, a 35, a 50, an 85, a 70-200, and a 100 millimeter. All those lenses are fantastic, by the way. Like they're amazing lenses. Like there was such a depth and variety to it. But God bless, that's expensive and it's heavy to carry everywhere. So then what? Tell me about this 2870. Then what did it do for you?
So we arrived to the point where I say, Vic, do we really need all of this equipment? What if I photograph with a zoom lens so I don't have to change the lens anymore? I got the 2.0 that, to be honest, my focal aperture, like Lilly's red f-stop, is 2.8. Like, it's very rare that I go below, like maybe in a low light, but I know low light I use a flash. So to see this camera that could take me 2.0 even, I was like, there is no excuse anymore. I would rather to have one heavy camera, one heavy lens, instead of like carry with me 6 lenses. That was my trade.
So, but how did that change the way you photograph? What was different for you? Now you're not changing lenses. What is it that it let you do?
I am a monkey when I photograph. One second I'm here, one second I'm there, and this one lens let me move around freedom without being worried about forgetting the camera somewhere, because sometimes it happened too that I forget lenses. Like I put here, put there. In terms of like creativity, it let me be free of like zoom in, zoom out in 1 second instead of changing the lens or like change the camera and check the setup. It's such a blast. I got even better, to photograph those candid moments. Like nail it, not losing it anymore.
So would you ever miss prime lenses?
No.
Do you think prime versus zoom even matters? What's the most important part of the day then?
It depends what is your photography style, I guess. Like for me, to photograph a 1.2 is not so mandatory, especially because I always frame with a background. So for me, the background is like very important. People that are choosing Lilies because they know that I photograph, yes, editorial, but I also do destination. And for me, the background is the frame of the photos, and I don't like the super bokeh. I don't think I ever used the 1.2. Unless maybe it was the point that I didn't know how to use flash. Let's say that in low light, and I went like, okay, I do 1.2. It's not my thing, but it's not wrong. I mean, it's just different style.
So, how many destination weddings have you photographed? What do you guess? How many would you say?
100.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Maybe more. Who knows? So, how does that change how you travel?
Oh, let's talk about traveling. Um, I give you the best example ever. Do you remember the time when they stop us and they say like you cannot bring all of this equipment with you on the cabin?
Yeah. So we were in line to walk into the plane, and we had the the carry-on trolley full of our camera equipment, and they're like, Zone 4, you can't bring your bag on, you have to check it. You're like, what the fuck?
I let Vic deal with these things. Otherwise, for me, I start to turn red and freaking out.
Yeah, and so we had to essentially empty our camera trolley and board the plane because you can't check a camera trolley. It's just not going to arrive intact. You have a potential to ruin your equipment, and you have a potential to have stuff stolen, like a super high potential of stuff being stolen, and they won't insure it either. It's like at your own risk. And so we started stuffing lenses everywhere. Like we had lenses in our pockets, lenses in the backpack, cameras stuffed like, yeah, it's ridiculously stupid. Um, and it was such a ridiculous process. And they're like, "Oh, it's your problem." And then, of course, when we boarded the flight, there was like trolley space up top. You're like, "What? Go fuck yourself." But we had to essentially dump everything into bags. We were holding lenses and cameras, like we wore the cameras with the straps and stuff. Yeah, I was carrying a laptop. It was ridiculous. Um, that's because we had so much equipment, you know. And when we reduced our gear because it was stolen, we just had less stuff to carry around now. It made things so much easier for traveling.
Like if this happen, I put my lens and my camera on me. See you later. Va bene.
Even though it's one camera and one lens, what there's other equipment you're using. What is it and why?
I mean, yeah, most of the people think about how can you photograph entire wedding with one camera and one lens. I mean, that's what I carry in my hand. That's it. But we always have a backup camera. The Canon R5 is a mandatory. I will never photograph a wedding without having a backup.
So I think it's a good point to differentiate. We're talking about the primary gear we use, but we always have backups for everything. Like it's fundamental. I would never shoot a wedding without backup equipment. You know, it's happened on several occasions where either I've dropped a lens or Lily's dropped a lens. You go, oh shit. It still works, unfortunately. I remember there was a time we were photographing an elopement at Amangiri, and at that time we had two 5D4s, two Canon 5D3s, and like 4 or 5, 6 lenses. I remember on this particular day, I think I had 2 cameras fail on me at the same day, at the same time. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Luckily, we still had equipment to use, but stuff does fail, and it is a piece of equipment. It will fail at some point. It's just a matter of when. So with that said, we do have gear. Like Lilly shoots with a Canon R5 with the 2870 lens, but you also use a 7200, right?
We have it. We use it. Actually, I think I leave it to you. You are like my second photographer, and you are like my fourth eyes on a wedding day. So I know that the shot that I want from you for the ceremony, from the cocktail hour, this is when we need, when we use the 7200. We also have a 35 millimeter.
Right. So you use a 2870.
No, allora, no, I use a 24 1.4. That's because I feel like it gives me a little bit more wide. Like this a little bit that sometime if the room is tight or when I'm on a boat in Lake Como, I need it for some reason. And so and so for this reason, for this year, I'm also considering to get the 2470.
It's a little bit lighter. It's a little bit lighter of a lens, and it doesn't go to 2.0. It goes to 2.8. But you said you don't even use 2.0 really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe it can be a good way to cut more the equipment if you use the 2870 and you can get rid.
For this year, if you use a 2470, you're not going to have anything else with you. You have one camera, one lens. You're not even going to have a camera bag. You have your camera belt.
This is a dream.
What else do you have? What will you have with you then?
I cannot wait. So, okay, another reason why I switch with the one camera and one zoom lens, beside be more creative, more easy to move around, more easy for the back, and everything else, it is because we start to photograph with film and doing Super 8, and it's extremely hard for me to like changing from one to the other if I have a lot of equipment with me. So the setup for this year is gonna be like a camera lens and flash, one piece. Then I'm going to have my belt where it's gonna be inside my film camera. So when I need click and put inside, I'm going to have like a couple of extra batteries. I'm going to have a pouch for like a SD card, extra things, bars, meta glasses, things like that, and that's it.
So to kind of go back a step real quick. So for your gear, you've got in primary gear Canon R5. You've got a lens, either a 2870 or 2470. We do have a backup lens just in case. In this case, it's a 24, just in case the lens stopped working. You have another alternate. For me, myself, I'll shoot with a Canon R5 as well, and I'll use either a 2870 or 2470. And then we also have a backup lens of a 35 and a 7200. 7200 I'll use during cocktail hour and ceremony when I can be a little bit farther away. So it's even though we shoot one camera, one lens, we always have the backup equipment with us. You need it. It's fundamental. Is there any advice for photographers who are thinking about switching? What should they consider as they simplify their gear? Is it for everyone?
No, for sure, it's not for everyone. There is not a right or wrong answer. I feel like if you're like generally feeling tired to having so much equipment with you, and you feel like you have to do it to look like a professional, change it. Like change it, get easy, get light, and your photo will get better, not worse, because you're gonna be lighter, you're gonna be more energetic, you're gonna be more creative, because like you move from one side to the other and you zoom in and zoom out. I don't know why we demonize so much the is a word, demonize? Okay, so much the zoom lens for like so many years. They're great. On the other side, if your photography style is like bright and you want this like one this super bokeh, va bene, it's okay. Like that's your style. It depends. Like, what is your priority?
With trends and how things shift in wedding industry and photography, does that even matter anymore? What's kind of the trend and style going on that you see from your perspective?
No, I don't think it matter. I think some people, they just love the super bokeh and it's okay. Some this is deep inside the style of photography, and they need these option to go to 1.2, 1.4, 1.8. It's like just a need of a photographer. As much as I wanted to have this option me before, like I photographed like this for 7 years, and for as much I never use 1.2, I go like, I have the option and I wanted to have the option. This is how I learn from millions of videos 10 years ago, like 1.2, you focus on the eyes and everything is S is bokeh. It's like Sometimes it's good to have this option. For me, it's not a priority. It's not going to change it.
I feel like the bokeh was a sign of being a true photographer.
Yeah, how I know how to use the camera.
Yeah, you're professional. You have professional gear, and that's kind of putting the focus on the equipment and not necessarily the experience that you provide. It's a different way of storytelling. And so, well, any parting advice for
What do you think?
me?
Yeah.
In which way? What do I think about what?
Like, what do you think about having photographing with one camera and one lens?
Oh, I think there's no other way to go personally. I hate having to carry around a bag full of lenses. I hate having to carry around stuff that smashes in the door, smashes in the walls, hits the floor. A camera bangs into the desk, it bangs into a table. I hate that. I prefer a simple setup so I don't have to think. Like the more I have to think, the more problems we have. I prefer my camera and my hands just to work without me. And so having less gear lets me do that. And then also at the same time, I'm carrying around all the other equipment too. So I hate having to carry stuff around. It's just not comfortable, and it limits me what I can do. So if I can reduce and still have, you know, I don't think the gear matters to some extent. You need professional equipment, you need professional gear, but I feel like a lot of people get stuck in the details. Oh, I need to have the best, newest one because that's gonna make me a better photographer and it's gonna change everything. It doesn't matter. At some point, what you have doesn't matter, and you should be leveling up your experience, how you operate, how you make people feel. That's far more important. And it's easier to get stuck in the gear and spend money because you get that instant reward of, oh, I spent money and everything's gonna change now, when you should be focusing elsewhere.
Yes. Where?
Your client experience, your Instagram, your marketing, your social media, what differentiates you and makes you unique from other people, why someone should care, who you're serving, everything else that it's easier to ignore.
Yeah, but because we're photographers.
You're an artist.
Yeah, I'm an artist disaster, but you know.
And that's it. Ciao, ciao.